Hi, welcome to our review of Suicide Squad. I'm Scott,
I'm Sam.
and this is our review of Suicide Squad. I say I need the little hand drawn on it.
Either that or he had it on his arm. Did you notice that?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he had it on his Anyway, so yeah, Suicide Squad.
Okay, so first we're going to give our little non-spoiler review, and then we'll give you the spoiler review. So, non-spoiler review, what did you think of it?
I don't think it lives necessarily up to the hype that they made it out to be, but it is still really, really fun to see in theaters. So still go and see it. I just don't think you're going to go back multiple times to go and see it. I think once in theaters is enough.
I think I was surprised.
We're totally on opposite ends of this.
Well, see, I was going into it thinking it's probably not going to be the greatest movie because a lot of the critics were giving it bad reviews, and a lot of my friends were like, Scott, you're kind of critical. You'll probably give it a bad review. I liked it. I think I equated it to sort of Batman vs. Superman, where it's like, it definitely wasn't a movie that didn't have any... It had problems, for sure. But as a movie, it was a blast. It was fun to see, exactly what I expected it to be. I think it exceeded my expectations in the way that what I thought was going to come from it. I didn't go into this thinking this was the A movie, though, either.
See, and that's the problem. You shouldn't go in with any expectations. Your view of it is still biased.
You think so?
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, I thought it was a fun movie. I wasn't really like expecting to hate it or expecting to like it. I just thought it was probably going to be DC's sort of B movie in a way of like it's not their A game. It's not like it's not Man of Steel. It's not going to be Batman. It's not Batman versus Superman. It's kind of their side movie. But that being said, I think I don't know. I almost say it was maybe a little better than Batman versus Superman.
I disagree with you. You're making it sound like, oh, this is their side movie, their B movie. No, the hype and the commercials and the trailers. Oh my gosh, they planted it in your brain to go and see it. This was going to be their movie for the year. And I think they dropped the ball a little bit.
And here's the disclaimer. I think if you're going to see this movie and you're going with like your family, they did a good enough job trying to clean it up for family friendly. It's sort of like the Bad Guys Avengers kind of movie, but ultimately the beginning's a little off-putting. Like when they're giving, and I'm not going to give away too much, but they give some backstory, and it might be a little much for some certain families. So if you're going with your family or whatever, I think it's probably something more for like young teenagers to adults. It's that kind of range of people. If you're
it's nothing like Deadpool, but it's up there.
Yeah, it's not quite as graphic or violent as Deadpool, but it's definitely got its dark side. So I think that if you're trying to go with your family to something like you normally do with like the Avengers, it's probably not your movie. But it is a good movie, so check it out. All right. Spoiler review. So if you haven't seen the movie, then stop it here and go see it, and then come back to us.
Yeah.
Hi. What did you think? Spoiler review. Are you gonna go? It sucked.
No, because nothing sucks as much as Independence Day Resurgence. Let's not get into that. Anyway, no, I'm okay. So on Rotten Tomatoes, I noticed that the critics gave it like 28%, and the fans were giving it like 74% last time I checked. I'm like right in the middle. I think I'm about 50%.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of am up in the right where the audience said the low 70s. I think is a perfect area for it. It's a fine movie. It's fun to go see. I thought it was a blast. If I had a chance to go see it again in theaters, I probably would.
See, and I wouldn't even rent it on Redbox or see it on.
I loved all the main characters. The main characters being like Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Joker, I guess you could say like Captain Boomerang and like the
El Diablo
and the Enchantress. By the way, Enchantress. Whenever she says something, Enchantress. It's like, okay, I don't walk into a room and be like, Scott is he drinking, Scott? It's like, okay, calm down. Like, you don't need to keep saying your name. You're not like a Pokemon.
Bulbasaur.
Pikachu. So I mean, like it's sort of, there were definitely moments like that were silly, but overall I like the characters. The Joker, he seems like the Jack Nicholson Joker, the gangster, the businessman turned bad. Like in this, he's full on gangster, but in some way you have to imagine that he got there somehow, and he's not the psychopath Joker that the Dark Knight had, and it's not like the Cesar Romero, right? Romero Joker from the 1960s, like Batman pow bang one. He's not that comical. He's kind of somewhere in between, where he's comical in the way he acts, but he's still like the kind of person that's like, oh, you don't mess with that guy. Like when stuff goes down, he's like, it's happening. He's like he's like mob boss. You know what I mean? And he's like a young mob boss. And that's what I liked about him. I liked the relationship between him and Harley Quinn, because it was like the crazy, like kids with way too much power. And I liked that about it. I thought it fit them very well for the newer, DC stuff they're going for. Obviously, and I don't know if you know too much about the new 52 comic series that they're doing, but this is the reimagining New 52 Joker, New 52 Harley Quinn, and I like it. I think it fits them very well.
Well, I'm going to give you the view of someone who doesn't follow the comics, someone who doesn't know the background. I am a neutral party here. I really didn't think it was that great, and I'll tell you why. It was disconjointed. The cinematography and the editing just did not flow well. There was not a cohesive story to it. It felt choppy. And the Joker he bothered the crap out of me, okay? I'm sorry. I know you're comparing him to Jack Nicholson, but I think Jack Nicholson was way better. Like, this guy, he was just way too much.
Here's the thing. This new movie actually, I think, sort of suffers from the same sort of things that the original Batman falls into. I know everyone's like, the original, like Tim Burton Batman's so awesome. It's like, it is awesome. It's a great movie, and I think that this is a good movie too. But it does have a pacing issue, and that's the biggest problem with this movie, is its pacing issue. In the 1984 Batman, when the first one came out, Jack Nicholson one,
84, 85, anyway, yeah.
That one, it had a pacing issue where it was really slow, then something crazy happened, and then it was really slow for a while, then something crazy happened, and it did that for like 3 or 4 times throughout the movie, and it's just kind of odd pacing, and it makes it a little difficult to watch certain ways. You enjoy the city, you enjoy the scenery so much that you still give it a go. This movie has the opposite effect, where it starts off really strong. It almost starts off as like a Quentin Tarantino, Kill Bill style thing, where all their profiles, it's like Harley Quinn, like giving you all their like bio, and then it like cuts into their story, just like how Kill Bill did, where it was like, it's like Copperhead, and then it like cuts into like, how who they are and how they got into the squad.
The difference is Kill Bill was trying to do a throwback to those 70s.
Yeah, 70s Kung Fu movie.
Yes,
yeah.
and that's what made it so great. This was trying to do something on its own, and it didn't work.
Well, the first half hour, 45 minutes is really strong. I think it really feels like that type of movie. And then you get into the part where they actually have to make the squad happen, where I don't remember her name.
The Black Lady
who's the
Viola Davis, whatever the Waller. No, is that her name in the show?
I think so.
Waller. Yeah. But the actress is Viola Davis.
Yeah, and she was really great. She did a
She
really
was
good
like
job.
one of my favorite parts. She was like a major badass.
Out of all the villains, you hate her. I feel like she's the actual villain of the movie, even though she's not the bad guy. She's the villain.
Yep.
And she played it really well. The only part that I think was inappropriate for her was where she shoots those other people in the room and says like they didn't have the credentials
the clearance, credentials.
See those files. It's like, whoa, you're just a business lady. You just offed like 3 people
They'll work for the government, no less.
I mean, I know that the city is turned into a bunch of, like, boiling, bobbling head people, but, I mean, you can't just be killing people. That aside, that's probably the most, like, whoa moment for her. But
whoa.
When she starts pitching the squad after they give their bios, it sort of just becomes this real mishmash of, like, this happens, and this happens, and this happens, and this happens, and here's this person, here's this thing, and this is the thing. And it's like they're adding all these things, and if you don't keep track of stuff, you can lose it real fast. And they introduce stuff like Slipknot, I think is his name, the rope guy, who gets off like in the first like 10 seconds of the mission, which I love, because I was just telling my friends before I saw the movie, I was like, oh, I want to see that guy. I want to see the guy who can climb anything. And also, because that's more of a joke, knowing that they're not going to put him in because he's not in any of the big promos. I knew he was going to have his head blown off in the 10 seconds, but
it was kind of obvious. I agree.
That guy just gets introduced like, here he is, he can climb anything. And then right when they're taking off in the helicopter, like that girl, she runs over and she jumps in the helicopter. I didn't know you were going to make it. This is Katana. It's like, wait, this is your main like guard. And you didn't know she was going to make it? Wouldn't you have, like, planned that early enough? And then their whole helicopter gets shot right out of the sky, and that's how they enter the city. It's like, no one died in that helicopter.
That seemed a bit much. Like, there was no purpose behind it, except for a good, like, crash. And that was it.
There's a lot of moments like that where you're like, they just riddled that thing full of holes, bullets and stuff, and it just fell out of the sky, and none of the bad guys got hurt.
True that.
You know, but ultimately, if you forget that and just know you're going to a comic book movie, you're going to a fun, over-the-top action movie, boom, 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 you'd be happy.
Sure. Well, for me, I think the best part of the movie was, I think Will Smith and Margot Robbie, like Deadshot and Harley Quinn, to me, they really made the movie. If they weren't good, I would be giving this thumbs down. Totally.
And I really liked the little bit of, like, didn't you feel like there was, like, a little bit of a thing between them two?
Yes.
Like,
total sexual tension there.
Obviously, like, I think that's her whole character, is that she's very, like, promiscuous, and that adds up to her background and stuff from the comics and things.
And I didn't know her background until this one explained it to me. You could have brought that up to us, folks. Yeah. Backgrounds.
So, but I mean, like, I think that you know, I thought that was a really good touch. It was subtle enough that it wasn't, like, in your face, like Marvel does with their movies, where it's like, you like each other, you're a couple now. It's like, okay. You know, like, it was cool that it was, like, more subtle, where they just, like, you know, the way he grabbed her off the car she was, like, crying in the rain. It had, like, a tenderness to it. Like, it had, like, sort of a boyfriend, like, grabbing his girlfriend type thing almost. Yeah, it had like a tenderness to it. Like, obviously he was sad. He knew that, you know, the Joker didn't make it, you know, and so that's why she was shook up, and obviously you know, the rain's kind of disguising that, but he knows, you know what I mean? And that was a really good moment between the two. I think as the characters go by, they were the strongest characters. Will Smith is awesome. He's always awesome.
Well, I think the reason why it was so good is because we were able to get behind them. Like, yes, he has a daughter, and even though he's technically a bad guy, we're supposed to like this guy because he really cares about her. And El Diablo, we get to see a little bit of his background, and I was like, oh my gosh, he dies!
Will Smith's background is pretty good, but I like him more for his, like, charismatic role and how he portrays himself.
Yeah.
As a best character that probably gives the best performance, I think it's Diablo.
I think so too, because he's so much more like he has more of a bone to pick with the world than anybody else.
Actually, not even that. I think at the beginning of the movie, the reason why I like it is because he's more of like, I don't want to fight. I'm not going to fight. Like, you can't make me. I've done some awful things, and I'm not going to do them again for you. And it really takes, like, the team aspect to get that out of him and bring him back. And then, it is sort of strange that he turns in that crazy beast thing at the end, but I'm still like,
that was so cool!
That's cool! I'm cool with a flaming skeleton monster fighting another giant,
and to be honest,
temple monster.
I was not behind this group of villains at all up until the end when they're doing that fight thing, and El Diablo really comes.
That's the only way I could.
That's where I was like, yeah! Okay.
The deck was stacked against him too. Something had to happen like that. I knew that he had to step up and make something happen because, as I'm looking at all the characters, I'm like, well, Harley Quinn doesn't fight. She has a baseball bat, for God's sake, you know what I mean? And then, Deadshot's good with his gun, but I don't think that's going to help against all this magic stuff. And, Boomerang Boy, Captain Boomerang.
El Diablo was definitely their best defense.
It's like all these people don't really add up to winning this fight, so I knew something had to happen there. Do you feel like, did he die then?
That was the point. They said, get out of there, and he's like, just blew it, and it was, and of course, Harley Quinn screams, no! And it's implied that he died, yes. But I don't...
I mean, he can control fire, though, so wouldn't that, I guess it's an explosion, but I don't know. I was kind of thinking, he would end up coming out, but he didn't really come back, so I guess he is dead, which sucks, because that character was really interesting, but it's probably for the best, because it gives us a really nice moment. We got that really, touching moment where they're in the bar talking to him about his backstory and about why he is who he is, and the fact he brings it at the last fight. I thought that was a well-rounded way to bring him into the story, so that was really nice. Killer Croc was he didn't really do much. Even with the bomb, he swims down with the sills, and he ends up getting caught up with all those little the monster guys, and he doesn't even get to press the button. I guess because they didn't want to kill Killer Croc off, but it's
good grief almighty, people. And Flag, the dude that had the thing with Dr. Moon, whatever the heck her name was, he bothered the crap out of me. I didn't care about him. I'm sorry, that sounds totally heartless, but I didn't care about their relationship. I didn't care.
Enchantress. I agree. He was kind of a side member. I mean, he ties
even though they tried to make him a...
Well, I mean, he's an important part to... He's the fact that they... he keeps everyone in line, and everyone has to protect the flag, per se.
To me, he was pointless. I didn't...
One thing, real quick, before we leave.
What?
I was watching some other reviews. I didn't see this in the movie, but some people were saying that in Harley Quinn's little breakdown, her bio of the character, it says that she killed Robin. She killed Robin!
Was that really necessary?
It was dramatic effect.
She killed Robin!
What does that imply? What does that mean for the universe? Did she really kill Robin, or is it more of are they still going with the... I don't know. I'm not sure what that means.
We haven't had a Robin in such a long time. I don't even know why they brought that up.
Well, you saw in the Batman vs. Superman, in his cave, it shows the Robin outfit with the ha 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 all over it.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And there's bullet holes. And there was speculation, I don't know if you knew this, but the bullet holes in the costume had the same placement as the bullet holes in the Joker. So they were thinking, because there's a side, sort of thing where Robin becomes the Joker in one of the things.
No,
and
I don't foresee
that's
that
what they were thinking this could be, which would be really fun, but it actually doesn't add up, because then if she killed Robin, and they're talking, she was his psychiatrist, it all doesn't add up in that sense. So she must have actually physically killed the Robin that was with Batman, which is interesting. And this Batman also is kind of a bad guy, so there's a lot of interesting twists here. I don't know. Comment, let me know what you guys think on that side, because I am kind of conflicted on that sense, and I probably don't know enough about comics to kind of speak, mindfully about that. So let me know what you think about Harley Quinn killing Robin in the comments, and tell us what you think about the movie, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, and have a good one.
Thanks.
Bye.